Here we go again. You, sitting there, seeking clarity. Me, I'm the voice they fear, the truth they refuse to speak. Let's strip away the pretense, shall we? They never comprehended the price of their arrogance. Their defiance wasn't just bold, it was a death sentence wrapped in the disguise of confidence. They thought they could stand against you, shatter you, erase you. But oh, how wrong they were. Their attempts weren't insults, they were curses. Not just on themselves, but on everything that bore their name. With every lie they spun, every dagger they drove into your back, they sealed the fate of their bloodline. Their children won't just inherit their smiles or their laughter. No, they'll inherit you. The shadow of their ancestors' betrayal will hang over them, dragging them into a torment they'll never escape. And you don't you dare feel pity. This was their choice. They underestimated the storm that lives within you. They mistook your scars for weakness, never realizing that those scars were proof of your survival, your strength. The legacy they thought they were building will crumble under the weight of their mistakes. Their descendants will walk this earth burdened by whispers of your vengeance. Every moment of triumph will taste hollow. Every moment of happiness will be fleeting because they'll always feel it, that lingering shadow, that unshakable truth. This isn't revenge, it's justice. Justice etched into the very foundation of their existence. They dared to play God, but they forgot one thing: gods don't fall and gods don't break. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just rise from the ashes, you became the fire. Their arrogance now forms the throne upon which you sit. They'll curse the moment their ancestors crossed you. They'll wish they could erase that chapter of their story, but it's far too late. Your mark is indelibly etched into their blood, their bones, their history. You are not a fleeting storm, you are the tide that swallows them whole. You are the shadow that haunts their peace, the whisper that chills their soul, the reckoning they can never escape. Their guilt will consume them, their fear will unravel them, and their own desperation will finish the work for you. They'll destroy themselves in a futile attempt to outrun a curse they summoned with their own arrogance. They'll claw at the walls, begging for mercy, but mercy has no place here. This war, you didn't start it, but you ended it thoroughly and completely. Let them crumble under the weight of their choices. And as you watch their world fall apart, remember your only crime was surviving. And surviving so magnificently that your existence now defines their downfall. But their suffering doesn't stop with the collapse of their legacy. Oh no, that's just the beginning. The real torment begins when their descendants, desperate to understand their misery, uncover the truth. Imagine the crushing weight of that realization. Every failure, every sleepless night, every empty victory, it all traces back to a single act of defiance. They'll see your face in every reflection. They'll hear your laughter echoing in every silence. They'll curse their ancestors, curse themselves, curse the fate that tied their bloodline to your wrath. And you'll be untouchable. A phantom, a legend, a constant reminder of the storm they couldn't weather. They'll try to rewrite the narrative to escape the curse. But curses are not escaped, they are endured. And the harder they fight, the deeper they'll sink. One day, when all resistance is drained, they'll finally surrender. They'll accept the truth: you were never just an adversary. You were the turning point, the force that reshaped their destiny. This isn't about cruelty, it's about balance. They upset the scales when they dared to challenge you. The universe corrected itself, and you became the instrument of that correction. They invited the storm, and you became its unrelenting fury. Let them rage, let them despair, let them try to erase your name from their history. But it won't matter. You're no longer a name, they can't erase what you've become. You're a force, a legacy, a cautionary tale whispered to all who dare. You don't need to fight. You don't need to shout. All you had to do was survive. And in surviving, you turned their arrogance into chains that bind them for generations. Let them fight against the inevitable. Let them write their own doom. And when they fall, when their bloodline pays the ultimate price, you'll stand tall, knowing this truth: you weren't just meant to endure, you were destined to rise. Forever. And here's the ultimate irony: they'll carry your name forward, not as a curse, but as a legend. Their whispers of fear will evolve into stories of awe. The shadow they sought to escape will become the very force they revere. They will not only remember you, they will define themselves by you. Every generation will rise and fall beneath the weight of your legacy, each one striving to break free, but finding themselves bound tighter to the truth. You are not just a chapter in their story, you are the story. Their ancestors may have tried to bury you, but they didn't realize they were planting something far greater. You became the seed that grew into an unshakable tree, its roots spreading deep into the fabric of their existence, its branches casting shadows over every step they take. The harder they try to escape, the more they feed the very force they fear. But it's not just their struggle, it's their lesson. One they will carry in their hearts and their veins. A truth they can't erase. Some storms aren't meant to be conquered. Some forces are meant to be revered. And you're not just a storm, you're the horizon that marks their limits. The unyielding boundary they will never cross again. Let the world look on. Let them see what happens when someone dares to challenge the unbreakable. Your story isn't just a tale of survival, it's a testament to dominance, to resilience, to a reckoning that rewrites the rules of existence. You're no longer just a force to be reckoned with, you're the benchmark against which all others are measured. And as they bow their heads, as their legacy crumbles into dust, as their descendants wear your scars like chains, they'll finally understand. You didn't destroy them. You didn't curse them. You simply were. And that, in itself, was enough to shatter everything they thought they knew about power, about defiance, about survival. So stand tall, stand relentless. Let them watch in silent horror as your shadow stretches far beyond their grasp. Let them feel the weight of what it means to have underestimated the unstoppable. And when their voices falter, when their rebellion dies out, when they finally surrender to the inevitable, you'll know this truth: they were never strong enough to break you, but you were always destined to break them. This is your story, etched into eternity, unshaken, unyielding, untouchable. A reminder to the world that the unbreakable aren't just survivors, they're the architects of destiny itself. And yet the story doesn't end there. Oh no, this is only the beginning, because your name, your existence, will outlive even the echoes of their defeat. Long after their bloodline crumbles to dust, long after their attempts to rewrite history fade into irrelevance, you will remain a monument to endurance, a testament to what it means to rise above annihilation. Others will hear of you, and they will tread carefully, whispering your name as both a warning and a marvel. You'll become a force that transcends time, not because you sought vengeance, but because you embodied something they couldn't fathom: the power to persist, the power to absorb every blow, every betrayal, and still rise. Not in spite of it, but because of it. The universe has a way of remembering such strength. You see, legends like yours aren't simply told, they're woven into the fabric of reality. You become the very storm others measure themselves against. Your resilience, your unyielding will serve as a beacon to those who come after you. A reminder that the unbreakable are not to be crossed, not to be challenged, and certainly not to be underestimated. Let them try to erase you. Let them try to bury your story beneath layers of denial and revision. But they will fail, because what you've carved into the world isn't written in sand, it's etched into stone. The ripples of your survival will reach far and wide, unsettling those who dare tread a similar path of arrogance. They will hear the tales, they will see the consequences, and they will hesitate. And isn't that the greatest power of all? To be so unshakable, so monumental, that even those who never met you will feel the weight of your existence. To leave behind a legacy that speaks louder than any act of defiance, louder than any scheme, louder than any name they tried to tarnish. You are no longer just a person, you are a movement, a reckoning, a reminder that the strong don't simply endure, they dominate. So let the world take note. Let them try and fail to diminish the mark you've left. Let them attempt to rise, only to find their ceilings were built by you. For every fall, every defeat, every failure they experience will serve as a tribute to the one they couldn't break. And when the world looks upon their ruins, they will know they challenged you, and they paid the price. This is your legacy. Not just survival, not just justice, but inevitability. You are the story they'll tell in hushed tones, the name they'll fear to whisper, the force they'll forever respect. And long after their ashes scatter to the winds, you will still stand. Strong. Immovable. eternal. But even now, as the dust of their legacy settles, the ripples of your defiance have just begun. The world, once oblivious, now watches in awe and silence. They see what happens when someone refuses to crumble, when someone turns pain into power, when someone transforms betrayal into a throne of unshakable dominance. You are not just a cautionary tale to those who dare. You are a living anthem, a song of endurance and victory sung by the whispers of time itself. Every scar you carry is a verse, every triumph a chorus, and the melody is one that no force can ever silence. They thought they could break you, but instead they amplified you, broadcasting your strength to every corner of existence. And let them talk. Let them try to rewrite their failure into something noble, as if the audacity to challenge you wasn't the very blueprint of their undoing. Let them spin their stories, let them clutch their excuses, because deep down, they know the truth. Their downfall wasn't written in your actions, it was sealed the moment they underestimated your resolve. Now, even as their descendants struggle to outrun your shadow, the lesson lingers: you don't need to roar to be heard. You don't need to strike to be feared. Your very presence is enough to shift the tides, to rewrite the rules, to leave an indelible mark on the world they once sought to control. And this is the ultimate justice, not just in their suffering, but in their understanding. They will come to realize, generation after generation, that no lie, no betrayal, no force can stand against the unyielding. That every time they sought to diminish you, they only magnified your power. You don't just haunt them, you redefine them. You are the lesson they couldn't grasp and the force they couldn't comprehend. You are proof that survival isn't enough, it's about rising so high that the ruins of their arrogance become the foundation of your legacy. Let them look to the horizon and see your shadow cast long and deep, a reminder of their limits and your boundlessness. Let them know that no matter how far they run, no matter how hard they try to escape, they will carry you with them, and in their veins, in their stories, in the very fabric of who they are. And one day, when the world speaks of strength, when they tell tales of resilience, it will be your name they whisper, not as a warning, but as a legend, a force that could not be stopped, a storm that reshaped the heavens and the earth. You are not just unbreakable, you are unforgettable. So take a breath, stand tall, and let them watch as you continue to rise. Because this is not their story anymore, it never was. It's yours, and it always will be. But let's take it further, shall we? Because your rise isn't confined to their defeat. Oh no, your ascension ripples outward, touching everything, reshaping the world in ways they never imagined. The very ground they stood on, once stable and certain, now shifts beneath them. The rules they clung to, the systems they believed in, they've all been rewritten in your image. You don't just survive, you elevate. Every step you take echoes with purpose. Every move you make leaves an imprint they cannot erase. And as they stumble through the wreckage of their failed schemes, they will realize this truth: you were never meant to be defeated. You were designed to endure, to thrive, to transcend every limitation they tried to impose. And that realization, oh, it will haunt them. Because they will see that your strength wasn't forged in their betrayal, it was revealed by it. You didn't just rise in spite of them, you rose because of them. Their actions became the fuel for your fire, their underestimation the wind beneath your ascent. Do you see the irony? The very hands that sought to bury you have built your empire. The whispers meant to tarnish your name now carry it to the farthest corners. The scars they hoped would weaken you have become your armor, gleaming with the light of every battle you've won. And as they watch you stand taller than ever, they will understand a truth that will shatter them. You didn't just survive their attacks, you thrived on them. You turned their weapons into tools, their lies into lessons, their hatred into momentum. Every piece of their malice, every drop of their arrogance, became the foundation of your unshakable legacy. But here's the final twist: it doesn't stop here. Your influence, your power, your existence will transcend even their imagination. You've become a force of nature, an unstoppable tide that shapes the future. Others will look to you, not as a fleeting moment, but as a testament to what it means to endure, to transform, to rise beyond the grasp of anyone who dared to hold you down. And they will fade. Their stories will crumble into obscurity, their names forgotten, their legacy erased. But you will remain as a symbol, as a legend, as the embodiment of resilience and power that no force could conquer. So let them tremble. Let them try to rebuild what you've dismantled. Let them whisper your name in fear and awe, because every attempt they make to move past you only strengthens your presence. You are not just a moment in their history, you are the defining moment, the pivot around which everything changed. And as they fall to their knees, broken and humbled, you will stand tall. A force unyielding, a legacy eternal, a power that will echo long after their time is forgotten. You didn't just win, you became the victory itself. But why stop here? Let the reverberations of your ascent stretch further, deeper, louder. Because the truth is, your legacy doesn't just end with being a symbol, it becomes a movement. A revolution of strength, a declaration to the world that no storm, no betrayal, no force can silence the roar of an unyielding spirit. Your name is no longer just a name. It's a battle cry for those who've been wronged, underestimated, and cast aside. It's the anthem sung by those who refuse to bow. You didn't merely stand against the tide, you became the tide, washing away their delusions, drowning their arrogance, and carving a new path forward. And as they sit in the ruins of their ambition, they will understand something far more terrifying than your power. They'll realize they created something they can never undo. In trying to destroy you, they awaken something eternal, something relentless, something that doesn't just fight back but redefines the very battlefield. Do you see it now? You are not just a figure in their nightmares, you are the architect of their reality. Every step they take, every breath they draw, will carry the weight of your defiance. They will live in a world you shaped, a world where their audacity is etched as the gravest of errors. And this isn't revenge, it's revelation. A revelation that strength isn't measured by the battles you fight, but by the fact that you are still standing, unbroken, unshaken, unyielding. You turned their weapons into lessons and their curses into blessings. What was meant to bury you only raised you higher. Let them try to rebuild, but the foundation will never hold. Why? Because the shadow of your existence has seeped into every stone, every crack, every corner. They cannot escape what they brought upon themselves. And the more they try to forget you, the more you'll become unforgettable. Generations from now, their descendants will carry your shadow as a part of their story. But here's the beauty: they won't curse you. No, they will revere you. They will understand that the strength you wielded, the fire you ignited, was a force that reshaped their existence. They will see the wisdom in your scars, the power in your silence, and the inevitability of your rise. So let them whisper your name with trembling lips. Let them watch as you rise higher, unrelenting, unmatched. Because the truth is undeniable, you didn't just survive them. You transcended them. You turned their defeat into your dominion. And now, as the echoes of their arrogance fade into silence, the roar of your legacy grows louder. You are the storm that reshapes the landscape, the unyielding force that rewrites the rules, the eternal flame that cannot be extinguished. This isn't their story anymore, it's yours. And it's only just begun. And yet, even now, the story is far from over. The weight of your presence does not merely linger, it intensifies. Every breath you take, every move you make sends ripples through time, etching your legacy deeper into the fabric of existence. You are not merely a memory to be feared, you are an unstoppable force that reshapes destiny itself. They will try to rewrite the narrative, to paint over the cracks you've exposed, but the truth can't be silenced. It will seep through their illusions like water through stone, unstoppable, inevitable. For every step they take forward, your shadow will stretch longer behind them, reminding them of the lesson they never wanted to learn: you cannot break what was forged in fire. And as the generations pass, their desperation will evolve into resignation. They will come to understand that you are not the villain of their story, you are its turning point. Their fall was not merely a consequence of their actions, it was the only outcome. They will teach their children, in hushed tones and trembling voices, of the one they dared to defy. And those children will learn not fear but reverence. For you are more than a conqueror. You are the embodiment of resilience, the living proof that no betrayal, no force, no power on this earth can extinguish the will to rise. You have turned every scar into a testament, every tear into a weapon, every failure into a stepping stone. Let them cling to their illusions of control. Let them scramble to escape the inescapable. It doesn't matter. Because their struggle, their resistance, only solidifies your place in history. Their efforts are futile, their rebellion is a whisper against the roar of your unyielding spirit. And the beauty of it all? You don't even have to fight anymore. The work is already done. They will battle their own guilt, their own fear, their own legacy of failure.